Hello, so this is our reading for today. We're going to have two readings. This is our first reading from Monarch Butterfly by Gail Gibbons. And this is, we spoke about butterflies the past 2 weeks. So this is just a little review. So Monarch Butterfly, and then it says, like I just said, we have the author who wrote the book by Gail Gibbons. A monarch butterfly settles on a leaf of a milkweed plant. So there we see the milkweed plant. The butterfly is getting near. Let's see, what's the butterfly going to do? She gently presses a tiny egg on one of its leaves. The egg is the beginning of another. It's summertime in the north. A breeze stirs the stem of a milkweed plant. The monarch egg is white and shiny, and it's so tiny. It's the size of a small dot and sticks to the leaf. So if you can see in the picture where it says egg, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny little egg. It's the tiny little white dot. That's the egg. That's the butterfly's egg. When the butterfly lays the egg, she makes it sticky. So now the butterfly is making this egg very sticky, so that way no matter what happens, so for example, wind and rain cannot make the egg come loose, right? So that's why when the butterfly sticks that egg, she makes sure that it sticks on to the leaf and nothing happens to it. In a few days, the egg hatches. Out crawls a small caterpillar, also called a larva. And this is what we were learning. We're learning the stages of the life cycle of a butterfly. And in this book, it's also going to talk about the life cycle of a butterfly. First, the caterpillar eats the eggshell and then chews away at the milkweed leaf. The egg of a monarch is almost always laid on a milkweed plant. The plant will be its food. So that's why they're always, the butterfly will always come to this milkweed plant. So that way the caterpillar, when it hatches, it has something to eat, right? So the caterpillar eats and grows and begins to change. It breaks out of its old skin, showing a new skin underneath. This is called molting. So molting is when they're shedding their skin to get a new one, right? For 2 weeks, the caterpillar eats, and it molts about 5 times. So it's going to shed its skin 5 times to get a new one. Finally, it is a full-grown monarch caterpillar, about 2 inches long. So it's going to be like 2 inches long, too tiny like this. And that's when it's finally going to be ready for the next stage, right? And remember, we also read The Very Hungry Caterpillar. So don't forget to look at that video as well. Now something wonderful begins to happen. The caterpillar creeps to the stem of a leaf. Remember, that's one of the parts of a plant. Remember when we were learning about plants? So the stem of a leaf, it attaches itself to the stem and then drops down head first. The caterpillar's bright colors become greenish. Then the skin splits and moves up to the top. The skin falls off. A new strange form appears. It's called the chrysalis or the pupa. So remember, when it starts to build its home, right? It's going to build this hard home, this hard shell around itself, and it's called a chrysalis. Or it could also be called the pupa stage. The chrysalis is like a blanket that is wrapped around the body growing inside. So we have the little caterpillar inside, and it's going to go through a change. And then we see it on there, on that side, we see how the chrysalis looks, right? It's a greenish color. At first, the chrysalis is long and soft. Then it shrinks and hardens and becomes light green, decorated with gold dots. Inside, the monarch butterfly begins to grow. Okay, I even posted up a video where you could see the life cycle of it's a time lapse of how the chrysalis and everything starts to change, right? So maybe you can see that too, so that we could help you. After 2 weeks later, the chrysalis changes again. Okay, but let me tell you, In the meantime, while all of this is happening inside the chrysalis, it's going through a very dramatic change because it's going from a caterpillar to a butterfly, so that's called metamorphosis, right? It's happening inside the chrysalis. So then once the chrysalis changes again, it's going to turn to a gray-green before becoming transparent. So transparent means that it's going to be clear. The chrysalis is now clear. And inside are white dots and orange and black lines because guess what? It's a butterfly. The chrysalis wiggles and it splits open. The butterfly begins to pull itself out. The head and legs appear first and then the rest of it slides out. So here we have it. And then the wings are tiny and stuck together. The butterfly's abdomen is big. The abdomen becomes smaller when its fluid is pumped into the wings. The wings become bigger. The caterpillar has turned into a butterfly, and that's the dramatic change that is called metamorphosis. The butterfly sits quietly for a few hours. So this is something that I was explaining last week. So it's waiting for a couple of hours so that way its wings can dry and harden, because when it comes out of the chrysalis, the wings are very soft and they're very wet, and the butterfly will not be able to fly yet. Okay, so it has to wait a couple of hours. At last, they begin to move slowly, then beat faster and faster and faster, right? So then the butterfly flutters up towards the sky. Monarchs have a bad taste and will make a bird or animal sick if they were eaten. So most of them are left alone. So that's how they protect themselves from predators, right? From other insects or animals to eat them. There are many parts to a butterfly. So these are the scales. We have the scales that of the wings that make up the colors. We have, so those are the scales. You have the wings. You have the abdomen. Remember we were talking about the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Those are the 3 body parts of an insect. They have the legs. Remember, they have 6 legs. We also have the antenna or the feeler, right? This is for them to touch or smell. And then they have a little tube to the mouth, and this is where they suck the sweet juice or the nectar from the flowers, right? The monarch butterfly only flies during the day. So that was the difference when we were talking about butterflies and moths. So butterflies are only flying in the day. We only see them in the daytime, whereas moths, we see them in the nighttime. The monarch butterfly only flies during the day. When it rains, the butterfly stays dry, hidden under leaves. Fall is on the way. Soon it will be cold. If the monarch butterfly doesn't fly south, it will die. Oh no, so it has to make sure that by the fall, it goes to a different place, right? Once again, it darts up into the sky. The butterfly will take a long trip to a warmer place, and this is called migration. And I know we had spoken about migration we spoke about migration in January. So migration is when these insects, animals, they're going to move to warmer places because where they currently are, it is cold. And they don't like cold weather, okay? So they have to move up. They have to move. The monarch will fly to where its ancestors have always gone, sometimes to the very same tree. Other monarchs keep appearing, making a cloud of orange in the sky. At night, they rest in trees. Sometimes they fly up to 12 miles an hour and almost 100 miles in one day. They fly to places such as Florida, Southern California, and Mexico. And they will stay going south throughout the winter, right? Some towns and cities are proud to have butterflies visit them, so they have festivals to celebrate their arrival. Ooh, I didn't know this. This is pretty cool. So children dress up for parades in butterfly costumes. Sometimes there's a band and visitors from all over the world. Monarchs can cluster together, thousands of them clinging into one tree, like a butterfly tree. So it's going to look like a butterfly tree, right? That's so cool. In spring, these butterflies will migrate north again to the fields of the milkweed milkweed plants. Ooh, so guess what's gonna happen if they're flying back? That means that they're going to start the cycle all over again, right? Here we have how to raise a monarch butterfly. Some steps, maybe I'll go over it some other time. Wait, hold on. How to raise a monarch butterfly. Okay, how to make a home for your monarch butterfly. So you have to find a little jar, you have to put little holes in them. Then you have to find a monarch caterpillar, and you have to find them where they have milkweed plants. Then you would put your little caterpillar inside. Then you take care of it. You make sure you put them a lot of leaves around there so that way they don't go hungry. And then you will see the changes of the caterpillar changing into a chrysalis, and then the chrysalis will change into, or the caterpillar changes into a butterfly. That's really nice. And then here we just have some more information. The monarch butterfly that hatch in the spring. So they hatch in spring and in early summer, and they live for a few weeks. And then they travel, they migrate each year to warmer places when it starts to get colder. And then that is pretty much it. So that was the life cycle of the monarch butterfly, right? So we've been talking about the life cycle of a butterfly. So just like this one, just like the very hungry caterpillar, it talks about its life cycle. And that was the end of the book. Okay, so this was our first reading for today. I will have this uploaded, and then we will do another book. I'm going to do another read aloud. Alrighty, so this is just like a little mini review of the butterfly life cycle, because today we have started talking about ladybugs. So stay tuned for the second reading, okay? Alrighty, see you soon.